My name is Paul Barron. Welcome back into Tech Path. Let's get into it today. I do want to thank our sponsor, and that is iTrust Capital. This is a place to go out and start your crypto IRA. Now, there's some things you can do over there. You can get into altcoins on it. You can put your Bitcoin over there, even Ethereum, but you can also go into precious metals. So you can go gold, silver. The cool thing is you get to manage all of this within your crypto IRA, and there's no fees on a monthly basis. All you do is pay a small fee on your trades, and you're in. That's where you can set it up. And of course, with this time of year, everybody's trying to prep for your tax position. Always consult your tax advisors, but this might be one of the places that you want to check out. Just check out itrustcapital.com. Use our link down below for $100 in funding as a reward. All right, let's go over to a couple of the topics today I think everyone's been waiting on, and that is Bitcoin falling below 95K after Microsoft, of course, shareholders vote against a Bitcoin investment proposal. Now, there's a lot to say about this, and I'll get into some of the details on this, but this may not have been as big of a deal as everybody was trying to make it. However, it did have a little bit of an impact on the market. I want to go to a clip real quick because this will get to a little bit more around the presentation. Take a look.
Shareholders did not approve any of the shareholder proposals. The discussion of matters for shareholder consideration is now closed.
So pretty straightforward. They just rejected everything. That's kind of the scenario that play into some of these Fortune 500 companies, is that not a lot gets through this process. Here was another statement here. Michael Saylor's Bitcoin presentation being played at the Microsoft shareholder meeting. The fact that that occurred was pretty significant as well, because I think that's another factor that you got to look at, is how were they able to get in to actually doing this in a major shareholder meeting like this. Another factor that you kind of look at right now is where and who else could be potentially putting Bitcoin onto their balance sheet. One, of course, is being looked at right now is Amazon, urged by Bitcoin, as well as Microsoft shareholders to consider. Let me redo that. All right, so when you look at others that might be out there, Amazon is being looked at and potentially being urged also to buy Bitcoin. So the proposals are going to come in, I think, on a lot of these Fortune 500s. Throughout the rest of the bull run, it's most likely going to occur, because I think shareholders just in general are going to say, why aren't we having exposure to this? But it's going to be interesting. You look at the amount of money that's sitting out there in cash, which is essentially losing at about 7-8% a year. Apple, Google, Amazon, Microsoft, all these 10 companies hold $811 billion in cash. Now, sure, they're probably setting it in treasuries and some sort of money markets and things of that nature. But pretty much what this is doing is just sitting there rotting. So getting it into some sort of blockchain or at least digital asset, I think, is the way to go. And of course, this is what everybody's kind of pushing to, is the Bitcoin side of things. This is, of course, what's happening over in Abu Dhabi, and that is one of the Bitcoin conferences. This, of course, is Eric Trump talking about the potential for Bitcoin to hit 1 million. So there's still a lot of faith in the market. There's still a lot of faith from a regulatory standpoint, in the political side of things, where Bitcoin is going to continue its reign as the #1 global digital asset. Also, you have to consider how much was liquidated. Nice little 813 million liquidated in the cryptocurrency market just in the past 60 minutes. Again, we're starting to see some of the biggest moves that we've seen in a while. Biggest liquidations in history, nearly doubling the 1 billion liquidations we saw last week. So there's going to be liquidations. This is how trading is done. A lot of people are in these cycles. Sure, many people are calling for, is this the end of the bull run? You know, personally, I just don't think that is the case. There's too much still ahead of it. You've got the FOMC most likely that's going to soften a little bit of the Wall Street money next week. You've got, of course, Trump going into office in January, and you've got all of these strategies that are supposedly going to be very positive for digital assets as a whole, both from a regulatory standpoint, but Bitcoin reserves, etc. All that plays into where the market is going. However, the altcoin market has, of course, softened very quickly. So we got a nice run up to around 80 something. As you can see, there's the high, almost 80. What was it? Did it hit 90? 88 was your high. And then, of course, the retracement that we're seeing right now. And I think that's the thing that everybody's concerned about, is this run up right now. If you compare this back to the 21st of November, right around Thanksgiving, right before it, and then the run up we had during Thanksgiving, and of course this retracement right now. Let me know in the comments if you guys think altcoin season just took a step back and this is a great opportunity, Or is this trouble for altcoins going into this final stage of the bull run? Let me go to another clip I want to get into, and this one is getting into how companies should be owning Bitcoin. Take a look.
When will the first U.S. big companies start to hold Bitcoin on their balance sheets? And the answer to that is very simple. As soon as you get stable coin regulation and custody regulation related to Bitcoin. Now, the Biden administration did a disservice to the industry by vetoing SAB 121. But you will, in my prediction, over the next 2 years, you'll have the ability to hold Bitcoin at a major money center U.S. bank, and it will be compliant with the capital allocation, Basel III for money center banks around the world, which will give every bank that's tied to the Fed the opportunity to hold Bitcoin for its clients in custody. When that happens, it'll pave the way for corporations like Amazon and Microsoft, et cetera, to own it as well. So
I think what Scarramucci is getting at is that it is a train coming down the track kind of scenario. Eventually, it's just going to be undeniable to hold a digital asset of sort. Necessarily could be Bitcoin, could be something like Ethereum, or even other assets that eventually could be in that phase. Because remember, all of this is still possibly a year or two away before we start to see some of this really kind of gaining some steam. The other thing that is, I think, interesting here with what he was getting at is there's going to be a stability scenario that needs to play out. Yes, stablecoin regulation will help that, but I think it also is going to get into a scenario of what's happening over in Wall Street around the ETF. So we continue to see the volatility of it. Do we see Bitcoin actually starting to kind of funnel into a much more stable asset? When that occurs, then yeah, I think you're going to be dealing with banks, major corporations, all sorts of people owning assets like that, because then it could look like just any other kind of asset that's out there. Another thing that you have to consider is kind of the culture and style of Bitcoin itself. And what I'm getting at here is that there's going to be an allure to it, even with people that are not necessarily Bitcoiners, but are interested in the technology. Here is Yat Sui. He's talking about that. Take a look.
I personally think that Bitcoin is going to be worth millions of dollars per Bitcoin, not because it's going to be used as a currency, but it's because it's going to be the ultimate status item. It's actually like an NFT. But what's the difference between a 1 millionaire, 3 millionaire, 5 millionaire? Actually, reputationally, not that much, right? That's why we have these terms of like billionaires suddenly, right, as the next category. What about all those people in between? I mean, they're worth a ton, but somehow reputationally, we don't care about them as much. But then we say, oh, but he owns this special piece of art. Or this guy ate a banana that was taped on the wall, right? And
I like your idea too about, owning one Bitcoin is going to be such a powerful thing very soon. I mean,
there's more than 21 million millionaires in the world, that's for sure.
100 million Bitcoiners around the world, let's say, maybe 200 million now. There's 7.6 billion people.
The point is that I think we'll hit a point in the future where owning the one full Bitcoin will have a status value that emerges more than the fragmented value because it's something as a whole, right? It's kind of how we look at art, for instance, as well. The whole collection is worth more than the individual pieces when you put that together. And we're not there yet, but I think that's where it's going to go.
So that's an intriguing take by Yat Sui. Obviously, Yat Sui very big into digital assets and more of the collector's side of things, NFTs, etc. And that's an interesting take. Okay, I could see that going in that direction. I feel like it's still more of a speculative asset that people will continue to trade in and out of, and will go just like gold, because I truly believe it has the digital gold moniker, which is a little bit more resident. If you listen to Chair Powell talk about this just the other day from the Fed, I mean, that's the real concern. I think that would be the biggest issue right there, is that you've got the Fed chair the United States Fed chair talking about Bitcoin and gold on the same standard. Just think about that and look at market cap. You kind of get where I'm going. The other thing you have to concern yourself right now with Bitcoin, of course, everybody kind of throwing this up there, is Google introducing a quantum technology that potentially everybody was running for the fences saying this could solve the Bitcoin puzzle. And of course, they introduced Willow. It's a computer chip capable of solving problems in minutes that would take traditional supercomputers septillions of years. I'm not even sure how many that is, but that's a lot of time. With potential applications in medicine, energy, etc., this will probably be the case. Oh, Kevin Rose, my buddy, noted that cracking Bitcoin security would require quantum systems with millions of qubits and beyond Willow's current 105. millions versus 105 qubits. So I can get that, is that there are, Kevin Rose, in case you don't know, this is one of the guys who founded a company called Dignation. If you guys remember that, let me know down in the comments. You've been in tech that long that you know what Dignation is. But that, of course, is Kevin Rose. And has enough understanding. Also, he's the founder of Moonbirds and many other NFTs. So he gets the blockchain space pretty well. So I would trust him on that one. The other thing I want to get to, of course, is right here, Google Willow versus Bitcoin encryption. Today, Google announced Willow reached 105 qubits. Back to the point is that it would take almost 1 million of these things to get it done. So a lot of experts weighing in on this, on computer science, and I think this is a scenario when you get into quantum computing. First of all, the capacity for quantum computing to actually be used by the masses, I think, will be very, very limited. Now, could it be used by rogue nation states or something of that nature? Yeah. That's the concern that I think a lot of people would have. And if you look at a couple of tweets, this is coming in from Ammon, the founder of Avalanche, and he's made a couple of statements in here. Quantum computing will make it easier to perform certain operations, factoring numbers. Others, such as inverting one-way hash functions, remain just as difficult. But he also is talking about the exposure that quantum computing could circumvent. And what he's talking about here is the public keys that are exposed when transactions are issued. So we know how that works. Quantum attacker has a brief opportunity after he sees a public key in transaction, but after that transaction, it's incorporated into the chain. So there is a slight window. Sure, quantum computing could go that direction, but it gets back to the point of where's quantum computing and what is it doing in the hands of certain people. It's almost like nuclear power. If you have only a handful of countries in the world that are capable of that, and we're still not seeing the technology. So we are way, way out, I believe. Now, could it advance with AI? Yeah, sure. Could it come in the next 1, 2, 5, 10 years? Yes. But getting there, I think by then, we'll see some advancements in the blockchain as well. Other points I want to get to is this story right here. Ray Dalio is predicting a global debt crisis. This is good because, not good in the global debt crisis, good in the sense of there is an alternative to what you can do when you have fiat starting to fail across the globe. And that, of course, is going to be Bitcoin and gold, according to Dalio. A couple of points he's making right here. He said, unprecedented levels of indebtedness seen in all the major countries. This will be, including the United States and China, this will be pretty much the opening for countries to be able to not have a debt crisis in years, which will be the potential of shifting over and almost doing a digital reset into digital assets. So think about timing here. You look at Bitcoin, you look where Ethereum is, and then you look at the rise of some of these other digital assets that are going into RWAs, real world assets. And you look at tokenized securities. Everything is starting to move in the direction. Give it another 2 years of development against fiat, and you may have a perfect storm, almost like that Overton window of the ability to shift into something like a digital asset infrastructure worldwide. So there's a lot of things happening. So the good thing is you guys are subscribed to our channel. And if you're not subscribed, do that right now. Just hit the subscribe button. That's going to give you notifications if you come in on our live streams, all that good stuff. We will be doing some more live streams. We'll probably be doing a live stream next week when we do and air the Chair Powell's statement on whether or not we're going to get our interest rate cut. And I think that's what everybody's waiting for right now. Last up, of course, but not least, Peter Schiff. One good thing Biden can do before leaving office is sell all the Bitcoin currently held by the U.S. government. The money would raise 2024 budget deficit, but it would also put an end to all the nonsense about harmful strategic Bitcoin reserve. This, of course, is a gold bug talking the gold book. I completely get it. I understand that. The new asset has been selected. It's going to be Bitcoin or other digital assets that are going to make their way into it. Gold may just have another competitor, and it's going to have to deal with that for quite some time. Hence, Peter's not too happy right now. So, hey guys, if you're not in on our Diamond Circle, get in right now. It's a great place to get additional content. And of course, you can reach me out there on X, @Paul Barron. We'll catch you next time right here on TechPath.